All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon for all my Love the Game 24/7 podcast fans. Appreciate you guys popping in. Normally I'm on here on Saturday mornings, but I had uh, an event that I had to uh, be a part of today, so I didn't get a chance to go this morning like I normally do. But welcome to the Love the Game 24/7 podcast, and I'm your host, Coach Jeff Smith. And yes, excited as always about doing this podcast and getting young athletes, middle and high school boys and girls athletes prepared for the recruiting process, right? Of getting to that level. And so I appreciate you guys joining me today. Be sure that you subscribe if you're watching me on YouTube, follow me and like if you're on Instagram. Okay. I'm also live on Facebook. I'm going to put um, my link tree link out there for folks to get to um, all of my social media platforms with Love the Game 24/7. And so um, that way to make it real easy for folks to join and I think I did that right. Link Love the Game 24. Yep, I think I did. Looks right. Let me put it in the chat because if there's any questions or anything like that you want to ask while we're live, you'll be able to do that. 1 second here and we'll get going. But the discussion today is for you young athletes out there, are you getting scholarship ready? Right? Are you getting yourself scholarship ready part 2? That's what today's discussion is going to be about. Are you getting scholarship ready part 2? Right? It's very important that you do that you're doing that this summer, right? As we wind down the academic year, the school year, it's very important that you are working on getting yourself scholarship ready for the camps and whatever sport you're participating in, young person. And if you're not, you're going to do yourself a disservice that when you go to these camps to perform whatever it is they want you to perform, whether it's batting, whether it's running, serving, right? Um, you have to be already prepared to perform at a high level. You want to leave it all out there, okay, for these college camps that you're going to be attending, to be sure that you perform well at a high level, right? It's not play time. It's time for you to get serious. There's a time for playing and having fun, and then there's a time for locking in and getting serious, because this is hopefully um, an opportunity for you to make some dreams come true. If you have a desire and you have the skill set, you seem to be a young lady or a young man that has the skill set to be able to play at the college level, at any level, Division 1, FBS, FCS, Division 2, and maybe even Division 3. But to me, if you're a high level performing student athlete or young athlete, male or female, you should be looking at FBS, FCS, and Division 2, right? Because the Division 3 doesn't give scholarship. They give some aid if you're a very high achiever in academics. Okay. and that's where most of that money will come from in Division 3. Um, but if you are a serious athlete, you need to um, be focusing on what it is that they're going to require you to do when you go to these summer camps. I'm going to share a story. Like, my father um, used to say to me when I was growing up, and this was even in Little League when I was probably maybe late elementary, early middle school, probably I think early middle school, and I wasn't really getting. I felt the attention that I should have been receiving with, playing time. My dad wasn't one to give me any excuses. My mom really, wasn't involved, but she wouldn't have gave me any excuses either. Um, and my dad was like, you can cry all you want, complain, whatever. What are you gonna do about it? And my father used to tell me, hey, there's some things you need to focus on to get better. Or like he would even tell me, hey, ask the coach what it is that you need to do to get better. What is it that you're um, not doing a good job of? Whether it be blocking or remembering and knowing your plays or whatever. It could have been anything. And and so he would just say that to me, to be sure um, that I was not making any excuses and trying to blame the coach for everything, even though I know that was part of it, somewhat of it. But my dad was the type of person that is, well, hey, you got to change their mind. That's what you have to do. You got to change their mind. What are you going to do to change their mind? He used to tell me, I was a running back, and he just said, I don't care if you carry the football one time, make that one time you carry that football as a running back impactful. Make sure that it's something that gets that coach thinking, man, I need to give him a ball a little more than I've been in the past. And so, my dad would tell me, hey, you need to go look at some stories about like Gail Sayers during that time when I was growing up. They, old school, Earl Campbell, Tony Dorsett, Franco Harris, Rocky Blyer, um, man, you name it. I would sit down, man, any chance I got when something like that was coming on to learn and hear their story and where they came from. And I remember Gail Sayers, something that stood out to me that he said during one interview, he was getting interviewed, and he was saying he would tell his offensive lineman, all I need is just you guys to do a good job of blocking and just give me a little crack, just give me a little seam, and I'll take care of the rest. And then when you watch the highlight tape of Gail Sayers running the football, if you're a running back, I mean, man, I just like dreamed, man, I want to run the football like Gail Sayers. I want to be impactful like that, you know, and just watching his story, and he just like, man, all I need is just a little bit of daylight. I don't need a whole lot of daylight. I'll create the rest. And that's kind of like what I, you know, live my life through growing up playing football and being a running back and being purposeful running back, all purpose running back. And like I said, I remember that like yesterday, man, watching that, and my father saying to me, hey, man, it's just all you need is one play. So in practice, you're busting your butt, man, for that one opportunity that they give you in the game to show you what you can do with the ball. And then make sure from every point then on, if you get an opportunity to do it, carry the football more as a running back, you make sure you don't ever let up to come off that field. You continue to show. Don't get lax. Don't get lazy. Don't get comfortable. Once you get your opportunity to run the football more, that every time you run the football, you got to run it like it might be or potentially your last time ever running the football. And you need to be impactful. And in everything you do, whether it's blocking for somebody else, whether it's catching a pass, knowing your assignment, you know, you need to be like a coach on the field. My father used to tell me stuff like that. And I've always centered my play growing up to be exactly just like that. Right. And so um that was just always important to me to remember those types of things. And so you guys, you young people today, are going to have to take that same mindset, okay, and um, in your pursuit of going to the next level, right, of playing college sports, or even you're going from middle school, to high school, or you're going from JV to varsity, okay, What are you going to do to help make yourself get scholarship ready? Right? Like that story I just told you, like my father shared with me, and not being a parent who always want to rescue your kids, when the first thing you should ask them or put on your young athlete is, what are you doing, right, to change somebody's mind? And it's the same thing you're going to have to do when you go to these camps. What are you going to do, or what have you done to prepare yourself to be sure you get yourself a look, you get yourself considered, right? I just want to say quick again, guys, remember to if you're watching YouTube, whether you're watching me live or you're watching the tape, the recording, be sure to click that box on the left and subscribe, share it with your friends. Okay. Be sure you're on Instagram, love the game 24_7. And you're following Coach Smith, and uh, you're helping me boost my viewership. I appreciate that. Um, but to get back on the topic is, hey, what are you going to do when you go to these camps? And you got to make a plan. Okay. And you can't go to all Division 1 camps, and you don't go to even some of the FCS or Division 2 camps that may be in your area, okay, or even HBCUs, because some of the HBCUs are FCS and Division 2 schools. So if you have some HBCUs in your area, you need to hit them too, okay. Um, and so it's important that you parents, just like I had, my father, and I'm sure there's some parents out there that are like that. It's not that it wasn't that my dad was hard on me. He was just coming with straight facts, just coming with that straight truth, no reality. It's not that he didn't think I was good enough. He just put it back, on his back on me. It's like, hey man, this you got to prove yourself to people. I can talk to. He's like, man, I can talk to people all day long. And I go talk to someone, and you're not playing up to the level. I don't want to, you know, say that you're going to do all this, and even though I know you're my son and you can play well, and what if you don't? So he's like, the best thing to do you is to show how worthy you are of getting more opportunities by working hard, by knowing what you're supposed to do, but also by having that mentality, having that dog mentality, right? That's not what my father called it back then, but that's what it was. His mindset was, man, all you need is one play, and make it happen. But there's times prior to you getting that one opportunity in practices and different scrimmages or whatever it is to help prepare you and make it happen. And there was a game, and this is no joke. There was a game. I carried the ball like once or twice and scored on the first play, or I had a big run. But I remember scoring on one play. It was like, you know, because in my mind, that's what my father put in my head, right? That's what he put in my head, that hey, man, it just takes one time, one opportunity for you to show. But prior to you getting that opportunity in the game, how are you going to prepare yourself? What kind of mindset are you working on? And he was telling me this, and like I said, late elementary, like 5th grade, early middle school, 6th grade. He was just flat out saying, man, you gotta prepare yourself for that one opportunity, that one carry in a game. And what are you gonna leave in the minds of everybody, especially the coaches, and most importantly, in yourself? You know, yeah, he used to just break it down to us like that. It's like, I know you can play, but and he would tell me, hey, Dad, know you can play, but I'm not your coach. I'm not the one to make the decision. He was coaching defense, and because I played for him when I first started playing, he wasn't over offense, but he just like take that opportunity to prepare yourself for that one opportunity. Sure enough, it happened. That one play, it was like I made it happen, and things started progressing a little bit. To where I was getting more opportunity. And then there was, I remember in the playoff games I had where I was the only one that scored. Like even the opponents, we had good defense. I played some defense. We didn't let them score. I was the only one on offense to score a touchdown. I scored 3 touchdowns. I probably had about 200 or 300 yards rushing in that game. breaking tackles. I remember there was a couple of plays where I broke, man, maybe 5 or 10 tackles on a play, just running crazy. Just, and I'm telling you guys the truth. I'm not making stuff up. I'm telling you some factual stuff. Um, and it was just because of what my father planted in my mind of preparing for my one opportunity. Because it's like, if it doesn't happen ever again, at least you can say, look what I made something happen. And then you can approach the coach and say, hey, look how impactful my play was. Now I have evidence that if I did have to go speak up for myself, and sometimes you will have to speak up for yourself, but have the evidence to back up and prove what you're saying, from how you act and how you carry yourself, how you uh, make sure you're a good teammate, you're blocking for others, or whatever it is, whatever position you're playing. Give that evidence so when you go speak up for yourself, nobody can deny it. Nobody can deny it. And so if you're going to get yourself scholarship ready, hopefully you had a good season in whatever sport you're playing. And if you're still playing right now, make sure you finish strong. So when you hit these camps, or before you hit these camps this summer, be sure you find out what kind of drills, what kind of things am I going to be required to do when I get to these camps in my sport, in front of these college coaches and these recruiters, to even consider, um, you know, looking at me even further, consider giving me a scholarship down the road. And that stuff has to start young, and it has to carry on. And parents can always be so quick to want to rescue and blame the coaches. I'm not saying coaches don't have fault, and my father wasn't, he knew there were some things that the coach should have done, but he put it on me still. It's like, as I said, and give them the proof, give them the evidence, right? And leave no doubt to yourself and to others. Leave no doubt. That's what it's about in whatever sport you play, young lady, young man, right? You boy or girls out there, boys and girls out there, parents. I shared a video on my story on Instagram on both my IG accounts with the coach from UConn, talking about how he looks at parents and how parents conduct themselves, right? And depending upon how parents are conducting themselves, that's how your young athlete is going to conduct themselves. It has it has some correlation. It has a lot to do with whether your child, whether your athlete is going to be a coachable athlete or a complaining athlete, even if they're good, right? Coaches will tolerate things up to a certain point, but after a certain point, folks won't tolerate it because there's definitely somebody that's always can come along that's that's that doesn't have all those other outside issues, that's may not be as good, but just as good, and but potentially could be better, and they're gonna go that route. Okay, for people to tolerate some of that foolishness, really, you shouldn't want to even come with that kind of foolishness. But sometimes they'll deal with some foolishness, to a certain degree if you're really good. And to me, that's still not good for some athletes to allow that, certain things to happen because they're really good. But hey, it is what it is. They're giving the proof, even though they might be a pain in the butt. That's really, for lack of a better, for lack of another word, pain in your, what. Some coaches will tolerate that because he or she is just that good. And but so you got to make sure you, um, when you get your opportunity, man, um, girl, hey, you gotta leave no doubt, right? And so you also, like I said, you got to figure out what type of drills are you going to be required to do, and you need to be practicing those things now. Okay, you don't wait to get to those camps and think you're going to perform well, and you haven't already done those things prior to getting to those camps, right? So you need to be practicing, putting time in, whether you got a coach or whatever the case may be, right? And I'm going to come back to the UConn coach, Coach Hurley, on something I want to share with parents. I'll get back to that, but just to let you young athletes know, okay, in your sport, When they're testing you out, what are they looking at? What drills are they going to have you performing? And so, as you get that information, you need to be sure um, that you're preparing before you go to those camps. I have a young man that just signed up with me. So if somebody needs some help with their recruiting, um, I got people signing up, and I got a young man that just signed up with me recently. He is going to his senior year, and he's never been to any camps, and um, so sometimes too many people are waiting for the coaches to say something, and he's late. He should this kid should have this kid can play at the next level. I'm not sure what level yet, but I know he has the ability to play at the next level, and no doubt about that. But he has some things he's going to have to work on. Um, and so it's good that he signed up with me, and I'm getting him going on what he's going to have to do to get himself scholarship ready this summer. But it's to me, it's disappointing that his high school coach didn't advise him to go to camps before this point in time. He's going to be a senior next year, right? And to me, the reason why he doesn't have the looks is because nobody knows who he is. And so parents, that's where you have to come in. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, to try to help you guys understand. And if you don't know what to do, you need to get with someone like Love the Game 24/7 or Coach Derek Tatum with elite talent. Love Coach Derek Tatum. And before you go pros, another good brother that does some things as well. I don't have no issue plugging some other folks. No issue at all, man. It's about trying to help you, young athletes and parents, get the truth, get some real talk that's going to help you hopefully be successful in getting scholarship offers. But like I said, this young man should probably already have some offers, or somebody should have already had told him some things that he needed to work on to help boost that. But the main thing is he hasn't gotten exposed to any college teams. And I don't doubt that if he would have already had some exposure by 10th, by his 10th grade, ninth to 10th, definitely 10th grade, and then going, in this prior to this season, he would be on the radar with some people. So he got some catching up to do. It's possible. It's not impossible. And I'm gonna work with him and help him get that done. And so, um, but you guys gotta, get with people who, vet some people who can help you and sign on, invest in your young athlete. And then the other thing, some, parents, you got to understand is, well, let me say, students, first of all, you got to understand everybody's path is not going to all be the same. There are going to be some that's going to be similar, but everybody's path is different. Even if your path is somewhat the same, some people road may not be as rough as your road. Some people road may be a little bit smoother. It just depends, right? It depends on, what program they're in their sport. They may have a coach who promotes and communicates and tells you exactly what you need to be doing and working on, and or taking you to camps and helping you gain exposure. And some of us may not be getting that as much from a coach, advice or advisement. And so you, young athlete, have to make sure, as you listen to some of these things, that when you get online, make sure you um, get with your parents and do a deep dive into someone's background. Look at their social media. Look and see who they're connected with. As I said, my son Jay Smith Jr. is in the NFL. Right. I'm a subject matter expert with that alone, but I'm a subject matter expert because I walk in these shoes. I'm not somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about. I'm not giving you theory. I'm giving you truth. I'm giving you fact. I'm giving you experience, real life experience from my own personal self, as well as my son who and others that I've coached. So you want to look up people, history. Be sure to look up my son Huddle link, Jeff Smith Jr. Huddle at Florida Central Catholic CCC, that red and gold. Look it up. Look at his highlight, and you're going to see why he was being recruited, and that's important. When people look at your video, right, for however long they look at it, you got to make sure you do a good job of putting good video out there to schools. because you want to capture that coach's attention right at the gate. Okay. Um, but yeah, go look up Jeff Smith Jr. huddle highlight, and take a look at it, and tell me, when you look at that video, at the level and speed that he's playing at, does it catch your attention? And I've seen some other kids videos that it captures my attention. This young man that just signed up with me, when I saw him play, he's a tight end, H back, catching the ball with his hands, adjusting to the ball well, good size, 6'3", almost 230 pounds. There's some things we got to work on, but I don't doubt at all that once he gets himself exposed, there's some people who are going to like him, and that he should give himself an opportunity. But nobody else can make your opportunity like you can. It's on you. But you can make that the people who are helping you, you can help. You can help the situation, because you got to ball out, young lady, young man. Okay, so don't play around. Prepare. And parents, you got to step in and step up, and stop thinking these coaches are doing a lot of things. You got to communicate, but you got to go with the right attitude, right? With the right mindset. That you're going like, hey, I need some advice, coach. Or if you don't know enough, hey, can you tell me somebody, where I can get some advice from, who I should plug into. Okay, so those are some things that you as a parent gotta do. You gotta involve yourselves in more, and help guide your young athlete. Whether you're a coach or not, you gotta guide your young athlete and help them. But like I said, everybody's path is not going to be the same. You know, I didn't. I always felt like, man, my son should have got drafted, but I didn't come off like, just because you didn't get drafted, it wasn't going to happen. No, it's like, hey, you're going to get an opportunity. I know you're going to get an opportunity. Didn't doubt it one bit. Just say, hey, when you get it, man, you better make the best of it, right? And so he's going on 6 years. The average life of an NFL football player is just shy of 4 years. Right? So he's going on 6. There you have it. And that's a blessing, right? It wasn't just um, on me. Hey, he put the work in. He listened, right? Thanks for joining me, Kim, on my Instagram. Appreciate you. If anybody got any questions, I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. Feel free to plug a question in. I try to answer it. But like I said, I just got a new kid joining me um, to help him with his recruiting. He just joined up with my recruiting service, and I'll share more about that. I also shared that I'm going to be heading to the NFL draft with my alma mater, Tiffin University. Um, my professor, where I got my master's in sports management, reached out to several of us who were alum and went through the sports management MBA program. It's to help raise money for our sports management program at Tiffin University out of Ohio, where the NFL does this, and will donate money or invest in sports management programs of colleges and universities. And my professor, Dr. Bonnie Teal, got this opportunity, so I will be heading out to be a part of NFL Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Looking forward to it. I'm excited about this opportunity to help raise money for my former institution, where I got my MBA in sports management. And so it's an exciting opportunity, and I'll do all I can to go live and show some different clips or whatever it is, experience. My first time, I was hoping to get my experience to go to the draft with my son, but I didn't. No big deal. Like I said, he's been blessed to be in the league right now in the NFL, going on 6 years, when the average is about 4 years or just shy. So once again, everybody road is and path is going to be different. As long as you get there, who cares, right? Some of you all don't need to have all that, because you may get too much too soon and you might destroy yourself. Some of you need to have it a little harder so you appreciate it and be more grateful. Because we've seen some guys and some young ladies who may have gotten some things maybe a little bit too soon and they weren't totally prepared for it. They're great athletes. Don't mean they're bad people. But sometimes you can get something, too soon, and you're not necessarily ready for it. And that's kind of things like I want to help alleviate, with being a part of Love the Game 24/7 platform and program, right? And our service that I'll provide, and getting people young and early, to help you understand. And I think, from that, it'll help alleviate a lot of things, and help more of you young people be successful. Like I said, when you get your scholarship opportunity, it's going to give you an opportunity to have a career after you're done with your sport, or in your sport. When you get opportunity to play college sports, man, you get to go play, and meet and build good relationships and connect with some good people. Just like I'm going to the NFL draft, um, and being a part of that, with my alma mater, with Tiffin University, out of Tiffin, Ohio. Just want to give them a plug, and they're a great Division II athletic program. But like I said, this is Are You Getting Scholarship Ready Part 2, right? Letting young athletes and parents know what they need to do. I felt I need to give a little further explanation about that. So, Are You Getting Scholarship Ready Part 2? This is what the discussion is today. I shared the story about how my father told me how, don't always complain about you not getting enough reps, or snaps in the game at the running back position. But when you get your one opportunity, what kind of impression you're going to leave in folks' mind when they see how you run that football, right? Or how fast you are on that track when you run in that 100 meters, or that 4x1 or 4x2 or 4x4 relay, and do your part, right? And how it's going to help build your confidence. Okay. And so that's what it means about getting scholarship ready, and also preparing yourself, and knowing and finding out, and having a plan, a strategy. Just like we have a plan and strategy for your sport. As you prepare your opponent, you go back and look at film of yourself, watch yourself. Okay, see what you can do better, because you can always get better at something. You can be real great at something, and that's good. And there's somewhere else you may be lacking. You may be good at running the football, but you're not good at blocking. And you need to figure out how I can do a better job of blocking. I don't, it's not always about people blocking great for you, and then you can't return that favor to help your teammate when you need to block, or a pass block for your quarterback. Can't always be that he dumps the ball to you. If you're gonna help your tackle and chip block like you're supposed to help your tackle regain control of that rushing DN, right? Or you're gonna make the pass, or the dish on the basketball court to your teammate, young lady or young man. It's not always about you scoring all the points. Okay, are you getting other people involved, right? So you have to make sure you lock in, young athlete. And this summer, as we wind down the academic year, and we get ready to start this scholarship uh, trips and thing, or summer camp, I should say, summer camp schedule, you need to have a plan on how and what you're going to do. One thing that I appreciate more about some of the college camps is, I took my nephews to both my nephews from Florida were up here in North Carolina, and I had the blessing of spending some time with them. Um, and two little goofballs. I enjoyed it. I had never had the time to spend that much time with them, but I was glad to do it. Having them stay with their uncle, and um, staying in a hotel overnight, and just getting to know them better, and them getting to know their uncle better, and what expectations that I had for them, because I know they're capable of doing some big and good things. Quail and McHale, my two nephews, to give them a shout out. Um, but yes, I had the blessing of bringing them to camps, and when I took them to, I believe it was NC State, and you had other schools there, like FCS, other schools like Elon was there. And I'm trying to think what other schools were there. There were some other, like HBCUs and Fayetteville State, um, but I know Elon. I can't remember some of the other schools. And so when you go to these camps on young people, young athletes, you girls and boys, when you go to these camps, you want to be sure you take some time and introduce yourself to every college coach and recruiter that's out there, because they're out there for a reason, because all these coaches know they don't want to miss any stone being unturned. They know there are some athletes out there that haven't gotten the exposure, that they haven't seen, and they're looking to put their eyes on guys. Okay, when you go to your these camps. And so you got to be sure. And I think that's something, man, I wish they would have done more about when I was coming up, but that's the thing that they do more now this year. So, I mean, in camps that you have a lot of the other schools in the area or close by in the area, whether they're Division 1 or FCS, 1AA that we called it, but it's FCS, or even some D2 schools that might be in the area or NAIA schools. It doesn't matter. Um, so that's a huge thing. And so you want to be sure you represent yourself well, and you go up and you speak and introduce yourself to these coaches when you're at your camp and you see these other schools that are there representative well. And I did, and I saw some of the same coaches at Duke when I took them to Duke, and also when we went to Wake Forest, there were other schools that were there helping out with the camp, and they're putting their eyes on you as well and taking notes, and some of them may come up to you and introduce themselves to you, right? And give you a business card, or tell you to make sure you follow them on social media on Twitter, because most of them want you to follow them on Twitter. I think some of them will be on IG, on Instagram, but most of them will be on like Snapchat too. Some of them, but it's mainly I think Twitter and Instagram, that these coaches will have you follow them and they'll follow you. But you want to be sure you take the opportunity that you're showcasing your abilities and talents for everybody that's there. Okay. And so you got to make sure you take advantage of that. You want to make sure that you leave no doubt in your mind or their minds that you have the ability to play at the next level, or for them to inquire more information about you and to go, and they'll tell you sometimes, hey, make sure you go on the website and fill out the questionnaire. And those are some things that you need to do now before you go to camps, especially if you made a plan or where you think you're going to be going to camp. You should have already filled out the questionnaire. So when you roll up in camp, they already have looked and have you on their list, have you on their radar. So that's another important strategy that you need to do, is that you want to be in their database. And the only way you can get in their database is if you go out there and do that questionnaire. Okay. So be sure you're doing those things ahead of time. But like I said, you're going to find some smaller Division 1 like FCS schools or Division 2 schools that will show up at some of the bigger universities camps, because they're going to be helping out, and they're invited there by the coach by the school that is hosting that camp, to give these other coaches opportunity, because they know, hey, we can't take all the we can't gobble up all the talent. Okay. And so they'll make sure that they will allow those other schools in the state or in the area, you know that are near or close by, to be there so that they can uh, recruit guys and recruit girls as well in their sport. So if you didn't know that, that's something that they do. If you haven't been to a camp, and you need to be prepared for it. And when you go through those drills, okay, you need to make sure you have proper warm up. You should break a sweat. You should get there well enough in advance before the camp even starts. Go through some stretching and go through some all out breaking a sweat. It's not going to tire you out. You do it. You get yourself warmed up and ready enough, and you give yourself enough break, right? So that you are rested and you're ready to go again. You're young, okay? You young people can go, but there's some things that you need to make sure you do proper. So this is what you get when you get with Love the Game 24/7. You're gonna get some the actual information you need to have to help you perform at a high level if you're ready. And so you're gonna get taught and you're gonna get trained to know the keys and the strategies, right? And the tactics to help you put yourself on the map and gain some exposure and get some attention from these college recruiters in your sport. There's some things you need to do, you know, um, and I'm not going to give it all away, because some of you all need to make sure you sign up with Coach Smith, Love the Game 24/7, and get with the program, just like I just had another young man sign up with my recruiting service. And so if you're kind of out there in the dark or in the clouds and not really sure about what's going on or what you need to do, hey, get with the program, right? The more you delay, you're putting yourself back, right? You want to get yourself at the top of that list to be considered. You don't want to. Enough is enough, okay? Um, and you coaches out there, like I'm going to Iowa this May. My buddy is the head coach at Sioux City West High School in Sioux City, Iowa. He's flying several of us out, several of his former teammates. He got the head coaching job, and he wants to be sure he lets his parents and young athletes know he's pulling out all stops to be sure that he gives his guys, his players, the best opportunities to go to the next level. So he's doing that. I'm going out. I'll be plugging in there as well. Like I said, I'm going to the NFL draft at the end of this month, and end of May, just before Labor Day, week before Labor Day. I'm gonna be out at Sioux City High School, Sioux City West High School, where I played college ball, Morningside College, Sioux City, Iowa. I'm gonna be out there helping my buddy who's the head coach. He's flying myself and Anthony Fieldings, another young man from Florida. Um, he came out of Morningside 2 years after I did, and Anthony was blessed to make into the Hall of Fame from Morningside College, and he played some pro ball as well. So he's bringing us out because he wants us to be sure um, he shows his people, hey, the kind of connections that he has, the kind of information, insight that he has, because he wants to be sure he wants to be that kind of coach to help give his kids the best opportunities possible to help them succeed to get a scholarship. We're not talking pro. We're just saying, hey, scholarship to go play, pay for your education. And if you're blessed to go to the next level, great. That's going to be great. You know, if that does happen. But if we can at least get your education paid for and get you some exposure in your sport, and also give you opportunity to have a great career, whether it be in your sport or something else, help you get networking. Get your opportunity to go to college and build relationships. That's what it's all about. But you got to get with Love the Game 24/7 um, recruiting service if you want that some serious legitimate help, real talk for you parents out there. Like I said, I was gonna come back to Coach Hurley, who just won the national championship for the men's basketball, and had I shared that story on my Instagram, where he just said how they watch the parents too. And he's right. They watch the parents because all that stuff goes hand in hand. When they recruit young men, or they recruit, I'm sure, Coach Ariema at UConn for the women probably follows some similar format, right? They're watching the parents because they know they're not just recruiting the kid, they're recruiting the parents. Like he said, are you going to be that fan? Are you going to be this type of person who's going to be an issue? Are you gonna help direct your young man or young lady in the right direction when they recruit you? So don't think Coach Hurley's the only one that does that. Okay. Most of these schools, that's what they're doing. They want to, like you said, they want to get to know the girlfriends, all that stuff. If you're married, they want to know the wives. If you're, your parents, both parents, they want to know the parents or mom and dad, whoever they need to know, because they know they bring all that, and they want to limit they any um you know distractions. They want to alleviate that, eliminate that. They want to get to know everybody. And it's the same thing when you go to the NFL with some teams, right? I heard Coach Tomlin say that same thing with the Steelers. There's some other NFL teams that I've heard say they want to know the mom and dad. They want to know the wives and girlfriends and children because it's a family, man. You want to build a family atmosphere. Don Staley's done that, right? I shared on my story. Go back and look, right? Where, those young ladies are talking about the type of coach she is. If you're a coach and your kids, your athletes aren't talking about you like that, then you either need to change or you need to be changed and they need to have another coach because your athletes should have some great things to say about you. Yeah, you're tough. We're not talking about you not being tough. Don is tough, right? Coach Hurley is tough, but they know coach love him. They know they know those people have the best interest. There's many coaches that have that same thing. But, as far as the high school level, some of you guys are just doing it for a paycheck. Time out for that. Go get another paycheck somewhere else. You got some young people that you're impacting and making an impression. So you can't uh, be slack about that. Just like you don't want them to be slack about playing for you in for your sport that you're coaching them in. That has to be reciprocated, coach. I don't care if you're a male or female coach. That has to be reciprocated. You can't expect your parents to act a certain way and your athletes to act a certain way if you aren't doing some things to be invested in showing that you really want to be impactful in their lives in a positive way. So take note, you know. And one thing I definitely want to talk about and are you getting scholarship ready to my young athletes is, be you, be the best you. I looked at Gail Sayers and Tony Dorsett and Walter Payton, and those guys, Roger Craig, some of the, like I said, Earl Campbell, some of these guys that were some of the um, best running backs. There's several others. I looked at plenty of them and took a little bit from all of these different running backs and incorporated it into me and what I like, but I wasn't trying to be, um, you know, somebody else. I wanted to be me, and you make sure you be you. But you can learn from other people. You can learn, how to the right way to train. You can learn and take some ideas. I used to watch Walter Payton and watching how he used to spread his legs. You know, if he wasn't lowering a shoulder on somebody and bouncing off tackles, I took that same thing, just like him and Tony Dorsett. But I remember, Walter Payton used to spread his legs to help avoid tackles, but it was a timing thing when guys would try to go down and go at his, trying to avoid getting that shoulder and him running them over. They would come from the side or whatever and try to tackle him, and how he would time and spread his legs. I don't see a lot of guys doing that. I see so many ankle injuries that could be avoided if athletes today learn how to go back and watch former guys and watch how some injuries can be avoided. Some of these ankle injuries, when I see sometimes, like, why would you just freely let a guy go down and hit and tackle you and hit you at your ankles? No, man, I'm protecting myself. They ain't got nothing to do with being soft. There's some things. Hey, look, it's times where you got to take it out of bounds unnecessarily. I don't need to take an unnecessary hit. All right, unless I see I got an advantage, I can take and shake a guy or juke a guy and get him off balance and run him over and lower the shoulder and run him over and get extra yards. But there were times too, man. I'm gonna juke you. I'm gonna outrun you, out quick you. But I'm also going to use a tactic to where I'm not going to let you, because when you're a fast guy, one of the first things they want to do is try to uh, get your ankles swollen or something, and guys will go down with their helmet or their cage and try to tackle you and hit you with that helmet on the ankles. No, no, no. I'm not letting that happen. I don't care what position I play, as a running back or quarterback. One thing I learned from watching um, Roger Craig with that high knee action he ran with, and Walter Payton where he would spread those legs to avoid or let guys, or he would work so hard on having strong thighs. It was like hitting bricks, and guys would just bounce off. But definitely how he would just spread them legs and run with so much power and authority, and then time it when guys would try to hit him, and he would time it. I remember his times where I used that tactic, just watching him, and I remember times where I learned how to do that and timed, and I'm sitting on somebody's back, riding their back, and literally having that, doing that, and coming right off them and still running. And they're looking up like, man, how did you do? And I remember a guy asked me, man, what did you do? I'm like, hey brother, I'm not gonna let you just get no free look on me. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get a look on you before you get one on me. So those are some things that you can learn. Be you, be the best you. Pick up some strategies and some tactics in your sport by watching others. Just like track and field, when I ran that 4x4, I learned watching others on how to run that race, right? And I remember one of the tactics when you're running that 4x4, and you're passing somebody, people would try to be slick and hit you with their baton on your arm to try to knock your timing off. And you gotta, just like football, when you're trying to catch a pass, and some guys try to hit you or do certain things when you try to release off the line and do certain things, they're trying to distract you so you can't focus on catching the football. But you got to learn how not to let those distractions take your focus off what you're trying to do. And I remember in a conference championship when I was in college running the 4x4, and really good athlete. He was from South Dakota, University of South Dakota, tall guy. And I remember I didn't waste time. It was a close race because we came in, I think, both my junior and senior year as like fourth or fifth in the conference and North Central Conference in our times in the 4x4 and the mile relay. But they were times were tight. They were close. But we won the conference championship my junior and senior year in the mile relay. And I was an anchor, I think, one time in that race. And I remember going up against this one guy, South Dakota was good, and USD. And I was passing right on the first curve. I just I'm gonna mess his head up. I'm not gonna wait until I get to the third turn. I'm getting him now. I used a different strategy. I made him chase me and wore him out. He stayed kind of close, but because I got in his head right at the beginning and passed him so fast off that first, um, getting on that first curve and coming around. I remember when I was trying to pass him, man, he was pop, 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 popping my arm, trying to get me to be distracted, that thinking that it would slow me up. And all it did was just irritate me, and I just kept my focus and didn't let it bother me, and passed him, you know. And so, and I just remember, just learning and watching other people, in that race, and talking about those different things and how tactics people try to use to get you off your game. And so that's why it's important for you to watch sometimes and catch and learn some things from other people, but be you, be the best you. Get those different things and put it together and make it who you are, and make it, um, develop that. And so you young athletes gotta learn how to sit down and take some time and focus, right? And then there's some times where you need a break from some of that, and get you some social time with some good people, right? Or family, okay? But be sure you get your strategy, all right? Get your strategy. Parents, if you need somebody to help coach you on how you need to conduct yourselves, as well as getting help for your young athletes, your young girl or your young boy in the recruiting process, you need to get with Love the Game 24/7 and Coach Smith. You can email me at love the 24/7game@gmail.com. Love the 24/7game@gmail.com. If you need some assistance on what Coach Hurley says. Like I said, some kids miss out on getting some scholarships or miss out on some things because of what they see in their parents, or what they see in this young man or this young lady, knowing that this is something that has been allowed. And some folks at the point nowadays, man, I can get just as good, if not a better athlete, with less foolishness, with less nonsense going on. So cut the nonsense out. Just like I shared about Coach Derek Tatum talking about the 7-on-7 becoming like a show, and it's not being used as much. It is in some ways, but still not being used as much of helping teaching kids, because I think it's good to help you learn and see who, help you with your competitive edge and your development. It can be used for that. And of course, it's competition because you got to compete, right? And when you go to these camps, you got to understand it's competition. These coaches want to see, and these scouts and recruiters want to see, how well do you handle competition? How well do you handle losing? And do you have any bounce back, right? Do you have something in you that say, no, I'm coming back up here. No, I want him again, or I want her again. Okay. And whether you win or lose, sometimes it doesn't matter. They just like to see, oh, there's some fight in them. There's some competitive edge in them. Coaches like that, So that's what you got to prepare yourselves for when you get ready to do your uh your camp tour this summer, guys. Right? That's what we're gonna call it, your camp tour. Right? Get those questionnaires done to those schools that you plan on going to camp and participating in your sport this summer. Start doing that stuff now before get your name in their database. So when you walk up and roll up on their campuses, they're already looking for you. Because especially when you sign up and pay your camp fee, they're gonna connect you with who's in their database already. Because they're gonna have done their homework and probably looked up your huddle to see. Okay, and then they're gonna have some expectations when you step on that campus, if you're that girl or if you're that guy, that young man or that young lady, right? And you gotta step up to the plate. You gotta, hey, it's time, right? It's time. Answer the call. Ding ding, right? That bell has rung, just like ding ding, let's go. That is what has to spurn you or get your juices flowing, right? That competition. You gotta love it, right? You gotta, man, want to eat it. Everybody does that eat. Yeah, I want to eat. When it comes to competing, oh, I know you're not fast. You're gonna have to show me you faster than me. You're gonna have to show me um that you can check me off the line of scrimmage, right? Or if I'm a DB, I'm about to lock you down, right? Or if I'm in that basketball, oh, I'm gonna get my shot off. I'm gonna cross you over. I'm gonna do something, right? I'm gonna dunk on you or something. I'm gonna D you up. If I out here at this camp and I see you love going to a certain side, well, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take that side. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna show you what kind of defender I am. You know that I pay attention because if you like, just like the young lady did with Caitlin Clark for Iowa, she took her dominant side away from her. Of course, Caitlin's good enough to where she's gonna get some things, but the young lady took some of that and ripped her 2 or 3 times. Caitlin had to deal with some stuff she hadn't really had to deal with, right, as much or as frequent. Because I remember seeing like West Virginia when they play Iowa, wondering like, man, y'all missing some shots. Y'all in the game, giving yourselves an opportunity with the defense you're playing. You're knocking. Caitlin's getting roughed up a little bit and frustrated, which is help taking her out of the game. But y'all missing shots, or you're getting in foul trouble, or you see this is her dominant side, and you're not doing a good job of sticking with taking her dominant side away. You know, if I know I got a guy that's not good with dribbling the basketball with a certain hand, I'm gonna make him go to his weak side. I'm gonna take away his strong side. He or she can shake and do whatever they want to do. I'm not moving. I'm staying to that side because I got a plan. Oh, I've already peeped you out, and you got to be somebody. You got to be a student of your sport, a student of your game, and learn how to sit back and watch and be quiet. And then when it's time to explode on them, when it's time to let loose on them, sometimes you just need to sit back and be quiet and let other people do the talking for you when you go beast mode on them, right? And so that's what you need to be doing, young people and parents. And if you need some guidance on that, then Love the Game 24/7 with Coach Smith is where you need to be signing up at. And I don't have um, I make no excuses about that. I don't shy away from that. It is what it is, and there's some other ones out there that's doing a really good job. I'm gonna do just as good, if not a better job. Okay. And so, but like I said, some of you parents got to be, um, some of you may not have played sports. Some of you have, and you still need some help because there's some of you parents, it might have been, I ain't gonna say easy, but your recruiting might not have been as as hard as some other people because, like I said, maybe your measurables were all that, and people were gonna come after you no matter what, right? Like I said, I was 5'8" in high school. Okay, so I had to and be strong. I had to make sure I was up on my speed and quickness to get. And so I did the things I knew I had strength that I was strong in. That I used that. I made sure that when I ran the 40 time, I was always in that top, you know, that top list, that top 2 or 3, you know, and also with the shuttles and all those different things and lifting weights and broad jump or vertical jump. I'm in there. You gonna know who I am. I don't care how big of a I don't care if you got like the running back from Tennessee that's going to Baltimore, Derek. I don't care if he was man, look, I'm about to show you, right? And I'm not trying to run the ball like he is. I'm coming with my style. And when you see my style, it's gonna be effective. Okay. So make sure whatever your style is, you perfect it and it's effective, right? To get you the looks and get you the attention that you're seeking to help you make it to the next level and get your scholarship opportunity. But don't get caught up on how somebody else's recruiting is going. Focus on yours. Focus on what you need to do. Get your plan together, right? Parents, get your plan together for your young athlete, for your young boy, young girl, or your young lady or young man. Okay, coaches, get it together. Okay, for you coaches out there doing a great job, man, keep it up. Appreciate you all, right? And for you coaches, you're trying. Maybe you need a little help. Hey, Love the Game 24/7, and Coach Smith is here to do that with you. Um, I'm not trying to break the bank on anybody, but I know what I know because I've been there and done that. And so I look forward to sharing more with you guys. And like I said, I'll share more about when the time gets close to get to this NFL draft, and I'll be doing some posting and different things from there as well. And when I go into May before Labor Day with my buddy out there at Sioux City West with Coach Stephon Pearson, my buddy, my homeboy. So I appreciate you guys joining me. Have a blessed rest of the weekend. Enjoy this great weather. And I was hoping I could have got on the golf course, but I'm sure I'll get out there sometime soon. But I got some things to do around this house too. Um, but I appreciate you guys taking some time and listening in with Love the Game 24/7 podcast, whether it was live or whether you listen to the recording. Be sure you subscribe, you know, be sure you share, be sure you follow on Instagram, right? And all those different things. And my TikTok at Love the Game 24/7. Look in the chat because I have my link tree link in there where you can get to all my social media platforms and go out there and listen to some previous short videos that I have out there. But be sure you listen to the full message, not just the short, okay, that I share out there on YouTube and on Instagram. Be sure you take the time and go listen to the full message so you get everything that Coach Smith and Love the Game 24/7 has shared and talked about. So you get the full message, okay, to help you um, learn and know what it is that you need to do for your young person, mom and dad, and what the young athlete, what you need to do to help um, you be scholarship ready. Okay. So thanks again, guys. Love and peace from Coach Smith, your host of Love the Game 24/7 podcast. And I look forward to seeing you guys again. Be blessed.